So not only are Arsenal top of the league, but there's some great news coming out surrounding transfers. Arsenal are ready to back Mikel Arteta, and there's one player in particular that have really caught Arsenal's eyes. So we're going to have a discussion on that. But before we get into it, if you do enjoy this daily Arsenal content, do me a favour, just give me a like on this video. So, I think predictably, Arsenal are going to be looking to bring in a big attacker, a big name attacker, one or two players. I want to hear your suggestions on who you would go for. But Arsenal have been heavily linked in the last couple of days to Michael Olise. Listen, he's a brilliant player and we know what Arsenal need because at times our wingers become very predictable. Martinelli and Saka, they're our starting left and right wingers. But it's almost like they kind of fit this system perfectly. Listen, brilliant players on their day, at times unplayable. But they're kind of like system players. Martinelli, he used to have a lot more flair, but I think he's having to sort of play that system of getting back, tracking back, and maybe he does lose some of that attacking flair. He certainly dropped off his level from this season compared to last season, but it's that right-hand side that we definitely need cover, and that's where Michael Olise comes in. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Is this a player you would go for? Like I said, I think he's brilliant. This season, 7 goals, 4 assists. And he's been injured for most of the season. He's missed over 20 games this season with injury, and he's still putting up them good numbers. But just because he's putting up good numbers with an injury, I think we definitely need to consider that this is an injury-prone player, certainly this season. I look back to last season, and it wasn't really a concern. He played over 3,000 minutes last season, but his stats wasn't even that good. He got 2 goals and 11 assists last season. So not someone who's really known for putting the ball in the back of the net. And then this year, he's not played many games at all, and he's scored 7 goals and 4 assists. So it's kind of like one of them players, if you're looking at the stats, you're thinking, I don't know if he's really that guy to take Arsenal to the next level. But if you're looking at the profile of player, he is brilliant. He is mercurial. He is that guy who just has that moment of excellence in him. And I think that's what Arsenal need. Like I said, we've got Saka and Martinelli who do come up with moments, but you need that real flair player, that enigma, that guy who can just take players on and create something special. And I think Michael Olise could be that, but I also think there's some other options for us to consider. I always like the thought of Nico Williams. I think that's the guy that Arsenal need to bring in because he's quick. And if you're looking at Michael Olise, I don't think he's particularly quick. He's not slow, but to me, he seems more like a technician, very good on the ball, quick feet, able to, beat a man. But he's not that blistering outlet that we need. Arsenal in this team, in my opinion, at times seem like we lack pace. Martinelli is he's our only fast attacker, isn't he? Saka's not particularly quick. Trossard isn't particularly quick. Jesus, Havertz, these aren't players that are blessed with blistering pace. So I think that is a dimension that we need to bring in. When we're bringing in a wide player, I think that's definitely something that we need to consider. We do need a player that has that pace. Because when Martinelli's not on the pitch, Arsenal do struggle as an outlet. When teams are getting on top of us and we need that one guy who can break away sort of on the counter-attack, Arsenal do lack that. So for that reason, maybe Michael Olise, for me, wouldn't be the guy. Like I said, let me know your opinion. I guess I wouldn't mind it if he come in. If he come in and that was the only attacker we brought in, I would be slightly underwhelmed with, that piece of business in particular. I think reports are going out that we're going to be signing a striker and a winger. So if you do bring in a striker, that's definitely a discussion for another video. Isak has been linked to Arsenal. If you bring him and Olise, then I kind of see it. But Olise on his own, in my opinion, wouldn't be the guy to take Arsenal to that next level. Like I said, everyone's going to have different thoughts and opinions. I've seen some people's opinions saying, Michael Olise, we need to buy him. We need to bring him in now. He's definitely the right guy. So let me know your thought on it. But let's talk about yesterday. Look, Arsenal went top of the league. In terms of the performance, I certainly wasn't blown away by it. I wasn't looking at the game thinking, wow, Arsenal are dominating this game. I think we had a large majority of the ball. But it was kind of like a workman-like performance. It wasn't dazzling. It wasn't, unbelievable. It was just kind of like a professional performance from a bunch of players at times I thought looked leggy. They look like they are tired. Players like Declan Rice, I think he started to fade in the game and then he kind of got a second wind. But, you have to be looking at these players now and thinking, how long can this go on for? These are players that have played so much football this season. There does come a time where you look at it and you think, oh my God, these guys must be running on fumes. Surely, these guys are going to need to be rested at some point. I thought if there was any game in these upcoming fixtures that you could look at and think, right, listen, we need to rest a couple of these players, then maybe the Wolves game was it. Mikel Arteta saw it a different way, and you can see why, because it was a difficult, I guess it was kind of a difficult game. We certainly didn't blow them away. I never felt at threat in the game. I never thought Wolves were getting on top of us to a point where I was thinking, this could be the end of our title hopes. Look, what we done yesterday was we secured a 2-0 win at a time where we had to secure a win to keep our title hopes alive, really. Look, we got another game to play before Man City even play one game. If we win that, we're 4 points ahead of City, and we can kind of not sit back and relax, but we can kind of leave it in City's hands. The title is in their hands. It's theirs to lose now. They got to go away to Brighton, then they got to play again. If they win both them games, then fine. Listen, they still got to play Tottenham. So have Arsenal. Arsenal have still got to go to Old Trafford. So there's plenty of games left in this title race that can sway the narrative. Look, Arsenal are underdogs. Arsenal are certainly not favourites. There was probably a point in the season that you can look at and think, right, Arsenal, it's in Arsenal's hands. That's gone now, unfortunately. The last week or so, we don't need to go over old ground, but it wasn't the best for Arsenal. But I think yesterday's performance was a step again in the right direction. We need to keep keep the pressure on City. I think Liverpool done that well yesterday as well. They had a good 3-1 win against Fulham, which I probably predicted that they may drop points in that game, to be fair. I know Fulham aren't as good as they once was, or certainly as good as they was at parts of this season and last season. But they're still a decent enough team, and they went away and won 3-1 in a pretty convincing win. But Arsenal have to keep this pressure on now. We know we got a big game coming up in 2 days' time. We got Chelsea again in 2 days' time, so we can't rest on having just that 1 point lead. We're level on points with Liverpool. Of course, we're ahead because of the goal difference, but we can't drop off now. If we was to lose this game against Chelsea, it would be devastating. And I know it's going to be difficult. I probably earmarked the Wolves game as a more difficult game than the Chelsea one, to be honest, because it's away from home. But the way Chelsea have been playing the last couple of times, it's just typical. Chelsea have been terrible all season. Rubbish. Swept aside by most even fairly decent teams, to be honest. But as soon as they're sort of coming to play Arsenal, it seems like they come into a bit of form. Their £1 billion squad, whatever it is, start to have an uptick in form, and it's right at the wrong time for Arsenal. Look, I think these Arsenal players are going to be tired. Like I said, it's going to be difficult to rest them in this game against Chelsea. The only saving grace is it's at the Emirates. It's at the Emirates. So, we need the crowd to get behind them for sure. But I don't know. Like I said, I've got the breakdown coming out tomorrow on that Chelsea game. So make sure you're subscribed for that. But I want to hear your thoughts on that Michael Olise deal. Do you think he could be the guy to take Arsenal to the next level? But also let me know your thoughts on that performance yesterday. What did you like? What didn't you like? Just quickly, Arteta again going with the Havertz in midfield. When I saw the team sheet, I went online because I knew there would be like a barrage of sort of hate towards Mikel Arteta because, a lot of us don't like seeing Havertz in midfield. I do kind of understand why he done it though, because Wolves were so stripped of players due to injury. That's the only reason I can think that he played Havertz in midfield. Is it getting to the point where Mikel Arteta's just being stubborn? I don't know. There was a lot of people around, not even just on social media, but in the actual media as well, saying, why are Arsenal now reverting back to having Havertz in that number 8 position? Is this Mikel Arteta being stubborn because he saw the backlash from playing him there again and we dropped points? Did he think, listen, it's my decision, I'm going to play him there again? He did play him there this time. It went in our favour. Arsenal got the win. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the game yesterday. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, like I said, do me the favour of just hitting like on this video. Just like it and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.